So we previewed this lesson in tutorials this week. I will find something else to preview next week, okay? But, so here's what we're going to do. To talk about domain and range, I want to start by thinking about a situation where we have a test with 10 questions and it's worth 100 points, okay? So, let's say that X is my number of questions right. And what? No, you don't have to write this down. We're just talking right now. And Y is my score on the test, okay? So if I get no questions right, what's my score? It's a 0. If I get 1 right, I get a 10. 2 right, I get 20. 3 right is, more of y'all should be able to help me with this. 4 right is 40. 5 is 50. 6 is 60. 7 is 70. 8 is 80, 9 is 90, and if you get all 10 right, you get the 100. Okay, so, Nope, So, and there's no partial credit on this test. This is all or nothing. Okay, so, knowing this, okay, can I get 14 questions right? No, there's not 14 questions to get right. Can I get -3 questions right? No. Could I get a -20 on the test? Could I get a 75? No, there's no partial credit on this test. I cannot get a 75. Okay. Could I get 110? No. Okay, so what do my X's have to look like?
10.
I can go, well, 1 through 10? I could technically go from 0 to 10, right? They have to be positive. What kind of numbers?
Whole numbers.
To be whole numbers, right? Okay, so the X values I have, which are my numbers of questions right, I can have positive whole numbers and they have to be from 0 to 10. Okay, what about my X's? I mean, my Y's, I'm sorry. What about my Y's? They can go from 0 to 100 this time. They have to be multiples of 10. They are still whole numbers, and they are still positive. Okay? So, what we have essentially done here is we have defined the domain and range of this situation. Okay? Domain describes what my X values have to look like in this situation. I cannot have anything but positive whole numbers that go from 0 to 10. Those are the only X values that I can have in the situation of a test with 10 questions, no partial credit, worth 100 points. Okay, the range is what my Y's have to look like, what the limits of my Y's. The only Y values I can have are whole positive numbers from 0 to 100, multiples of 10. And that's the only values I'm allowed to have. That's what domain and range is. It tells me what my X values and my Y values have to look like. That's it. Okay? So let's get these notes. Let's go to our notes, and we're going to write down that definition. We're going to write a definition of domain and range, and then I'm going to show you how to do one type. Okay? There's actually 2 types of domain and range that we're going to do. We're going to do the kind of the simpler ones. We're going to do the more difficult ones on Monday. Okay? They're not the more challenged, more complicated ones. They're not hard. They're just complicated. Okay? So domain and range are the list of appropriate, or we could also say acceptable, appropriate or acceptable values for a table, graph, or situation. Okay, so they're the list of appropriate values for a table, graph, or situation. Okay, I'm going to do 2 problems, 2 examples, and then you're going to do your homework tonight, which is actually only going to be 4 problems. You're only going to do questions 1 through 4. Okay? And then we'll do the rest of it we're going to do on Monday. Okay, so let me do the first problem. And you guys can copy this down after, okay? But I want you to watch me do these, okay? So the way we're going to do this, the mnemonic we're going to use to help us remember this it's not really a mnemonic, is Dr. XY. Okay? Dr. XY. So what do you think D tells me? Domain. And what is domain? No, what is domain? X values. R is range, and it's Y values. Every time I see the word domain, I put an X over it. Every time I see the word range, I put a Y over it. Whenever I make a table, I label it XY, and then I put doctor on top of that. Okay? So let me show you how to do this. Okay? We're going to make a table of values. Okay? Y'all watch. I'll give you time to copy, okay? There is no time, okay? I'm going to start by each point. I'm going to circle the points because that way I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I have -4, -4. I have a point here at -1, 3. I have a point at 1, 1. Got a point at 2, 5. And then I've got a point at 5, -3. Do you guys agree with this? Okay, since I'm finding domain and range, I'm going to put DR at the top of my table. Now, for the domain, all I'm going to do is list these numbers out. Okay? So I'm going to say X equals, and then I'm going to do this fancy bracket. Now listen, y'all, if y'all can't draw this fancy bracket, like say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just do a squiggle, but just make it taller than the numbers. Look, the fancy bracket's kind of hard to draw, but it has to be, it cannot be parentheses, it cannot be brackets. Those mean something else, okay? So all I'm going to do is list these. -4, -1, 1, 2, 5. Same thing for my Y values. I'm going to list those. -4, 3, 1, 5, -3. That's it.
That's all it is?
That's it. Now I'm going to do one more for you because I want to show you one other thing, but this is literally it, okay? Let me show you this one right here, okay? So when I make this table, I have, what is this, -2, 2, -2, -1, -1, 3, 2, 1, 3, -1, and 4, 3. Okay, so you guys remember when we did functions? How when we did the function mappings, we never repeated a number in a bubble? We're going to do the same thing here. When I write my domain, I already have -2 once, so I'm not going to write it twice. I just write it once. -2, -1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing with range and my Y values. I have 2, -1, 3, 1. But I already wrote -1, so I'm not going to write it again. I already wrote 3, so I'm not going to write it again, and I'm done. What do we think? Does that seem pretty easy? Right. So we're only doing those first 4 problems for homework. The other ones we're going to do on Monday. So that's going to be Monday's homework. So we're going to expand on Monday, all right?
Are those